Hey everyone, welcome to the channel. Today we're going to do the full review of the Breitling Navitimer B01 Chronograph in 43 millimeters. So I have the reverse panda layout here of the dial on the black leather strap with the white contrast stitching, the deployant buckle, and this one is on loan from Saltzmans watches. They are a Breitling authorized retailer, and I will link their contact information and their website in the description of this video. Now I'm filming this at a local park next to my office here, where you guys can see all of the details, all of the beauty under natural light and away from showroom lights. And I'll be editing in macro video, various shots, so hopefully I can give you as best sense as possible of what it's like to have this watch in hand, on wrist, and in a variety of different environments for those of you that are considering purchasing this watch. I know some guys really enjoy the one of every brand. Like, I want one Zenith, one Rolex, one Omega, one Breitling. And if you're of that type of collecting philosophy, I think you should go with the icon of each brand. And the icon of Breitling definitely is the Navitimer. And this is done really well. There's reason why this has withstood the test of time, and in decades to come, it's still going to be the icon of this brand. So let's start out with some dimensions here. I will place them on the screen, kind of talk about fit. For reference, my wrists are 7.25 inches in circumference, and I love the pop, presence, and weight of this on wrist. It's not hefty like this would be on a bracelet. This has a good conformity to the wrist. The Uggs kind of arc down and are a little bit shorter than in previous generations of the Navitimer, and I think that's a great thing. It's going to appeal to a wider range of wrists and be more comfortable. Now, the design is admittedly rather busy. Like, if you're not familiar with the Navitimer, you might look at this and say, wow, there's a lot going on there, but that's part of the appeal and the charm. This is an historic model. It debuted in 1952, so it's almost 70 years old. And surprisingly, it's not the oldest line in the Breitling lineup. The Premier and the Chronomat actually predate the Navitimer, but again, the Navitimer is the icon of the brand. It's the name or the model that a person generally thinks of when you say, hey, what about Breitling? They're thinking about a Navitimer. So let's go in and take a look at the details of the dial, this very busy dial. There's a lot going on here, but it's very pleasant. I like the sunken registers that have the concentric circle guilloche texturing. The applied markers have a very faint curve or arc to them. They're high polish. They reflect light nicely, and this does have the B logo below the 12 o'clock position, as opposed to the Wings logo that used to be on the Breitling Navitimer. Now, I know some of you guys won't be happy with this change here, but what Breitling is doing, they're placing the Wings on their modern pieces, their sport pieces, and they're placing this B logo on all of their heritage pieces. So you'll notice this here on the Navitimer, on the Premier, and it's just the direction that the company has chose to go with. But I like the color, the use of red. I think overall, although this is busy, it's still legible and it still has a beauty to it. Now let's talk about the movement. This is a B01 in-house manufacture. It came out in 2009. When it first came out, admittedly, it did have quality control issues, but that would be the case with any brand debuting a brand new caliber. Since then, it's gone through some nice upgrades, tweaks, and changes, and I would consider this a very solid automatic chronograph. And as you guys can see through this exhibition case back, I think it's very handsome. Now, obviously, this isn't decorated to a super high level like what you would find on a high horology dress watch, but I think it's tasteful, and it's nice to see all of the components of this movement. And there's some really nice specs that we appreciate as watch fans. 70 hours of power reserve, which is roughly 3 days, 28,800 beats per hour, so this is a 4 hertz movement. It has 47 joules, which is relatively high, a vertical clutch, column wheel actuation for the chronograph, and I like this feature. You can use the quick set date at any time regardless of the hand position without fear of damaging the movement. So it's a handsome movement. It has very nice actuation here. Let me show you how you engage it. It has very defined, loud, snappy, precise clicks when it comes to the starting, the stopping, and the reset. Now, one of my favorite things to do is actually turn it over and look at the movement and then start, stop, and reset the chronograph module. There's something kind of satisfying about seeing that happen in front of you. And then another thing I like to do is engage the chronograph, wait for that red chronograph hand to pass 60, and then look at the little jump on the minute counter. And again, I'll turn the watch over and I'll watch the gear tick over on the back. It's really a fun thing to do. Now let's zoom out and talk about the slide rule here. You can do quite a lot with this, from conversion rates, calculating percentages, multiplication, division. I'm going to show you the easiest thing to do, which is some basic multiplication, but you really can do quite a bit with this, which is pretty impressive. So let's move it. I'm going to set the 10, this is logarithmic, I'm going to set that to 8 here so we can do some multiples of 8. When the 10 is on the 8, everything on that black scale there is now in a multiple of 10. So let's say I want to do something easy like multiply 8 times 11, which we should know is 88. I can look at the 11 on the white outer ring, look at the hash and bring it down and see where it lines up. So let's go previous, we're at 8. Let's count how many hashes that are here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So since this is logarithmic and we know 8 times 11 is 88, obviously the answer here is 88. But if we want to do something a little more difficult, let's say 8 times 13. So again, it's already set to 8. I go over to 13 on the outer ring, go down and count its position. So the previous index is at 10. I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Using a little bit of logic, that should be 104. We can confirm that with the calculator. It all adds up. So is it super precise like a calculator on your phone? No, you're gonna have to apply a little bit of logic, but it's pretty impressive. All the features you're able to do with the basic circular slide rule on your watch, you know, the multiplication, division, conversion rates, percentages, all of that stuff. This thing, again, debuted in the early 1950s when everyone didn't have a calculator in their pocket, and it was specifically geared toward pilots who had to do different calculations as they were flying the aircraft. So very fun history. It's kind of a novel thing. I would say it's more of a conversation piece than something functional. Like, I know there's some guys that will calculate the tip at a restaurant when they're out to eat, but more often than not, you're explaining to a fellow watch fan or maybe someone you're trying to introduce to watches the history and all the features you're able to do with it. It's not just visual, it's not just busy to the eye. There's some function and history behind it, and I appreciate that, and it's one of the things that really makes the Navitimer what it is. So let's sum up the video. What do I think of the watch? I think it's an iconic design. There's some nice elements. Breitling is doing detail work right here. I love the cambered sapphire crystal, the anti-reflective treatment, the little bit of texture on the chronograph hand, the guilloche texturing, the open case back where you can see the in-house manufacturer movement, very good tactile feel. The strap is awesome. Overall, it's easy to see why this is such an appealing piece, why it's the icon of the lineup, and why if you're just gonna buy one Breitling, why you'd wanna go with one of these versions, one of these Navitimers. So what's the retail price? This one, as shown, retails for $8,555. If you were to get it on bracelet, beautiful 6-link bracelet, you'd be spending $92.50. And the great thing about Breitling is you're able to negotiate nice discounts from an authorized dealer, which really, in my opinion, negates the need to go gray market. When you're spending multiple thousands of dollars, you don't want to play that crapshoot. You can get a good discount from an authorized dealer. And seeing as this video is sponsored by Saltzmans watches, I have talked to Richard, who is in charge of Breitling, and he says that if you call up, you name drop me, he's going to give you a very aggressive discount. He's not allowed to advertise them here on the internet, on YouTube. But for those really shopping this watch and really interested, I definitely would recommend reaching out and having a conversation with Saltzmans and getting a good discount, getting your name on the 5-year warranty, putting every scratch in the watch yourself, and really enjoying the ownership. So guys, those are my thoughts on the iconic Navitimer from Breitling. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know if you have any specific questions. I'd be happy to try and help Big thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.